Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today, guys, we're going to be diving into the world of Polygon and specifically the price action of MATIC. In this video, we're going to be talking about some recent volatility and my expectations on what is going to happen next here for the MATIC token. As we get into this video, if you do find it useful and informative, hit that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new, why not go ahead and subscribe, tap that bell, select all notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with that said, done out of the way, let's dive right into this brief technical analysis on MATIC. So obviously we can see on this daily chart, good progress was made, right? There was lots of sideways trading down here. Not too much activity was going on during 2020, and even as we get into the kind of the new year, it didn't really kind of ramp up until we kind of got into February. Now from there, obviously what happened was basically transactional volume. You know, the price of Ethereum transactions started to increase, and as a result, a lot of projects were basically, employing Polygon's MATIC network rather than the Ethereum network, just to try to manage their fees, right? Because it just becomes unmanageable at such a scale. And as a result, we actually saw ourselves rise up, right, from March 2020 through to the peak up here in May, 434 days. 42,500% in gains. So to put that into context for you guys, Bitcoin rose up 1,600% in the same period. Ethereum rose up 5,000% in the same period. So when it comes to trying to maximize your profits within your portfolio, it's these kind of projects that are identified super early as absolute gem projects that are going to have a fantastic use case during bull runs or just in general. And those are the ones that are super cheap at the time because no one's valuing them very well, and then they absolutely go on a tear like this, right? And as you say, right, thousands upon thousands of percent in gains, much more than the safer bets, if you will, of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, it's obviously important that you do your own research into identifying these. And again, I'm not a financial advisor. Chris is not a financial advisor, but we do like to identify these kind of projects. The projects that we find are super cheap. Take care, MTV Multivac right now, for example, find them super cheap and then basically find that underlying value of where they're going to go next, right? And that's exactly what you saw here. You saw it with MATIC, we've seen it with Harmony One, we've seen it with VeChain, we've seen it with ADA, we've seen it with XRP during that lawsuit getting pulled down, right? The prices of XRP plummeted. We were just buying that up, right? And it's about identifying that super early and then riding it to the top here, seeing those thousands of percent in gains. But the journey hasn't finished just yet. We can still see another 771% in gains. That'll take us up to about $9.43, which is the 4.236 extension based on the performance of May and down here in July, right? So that correction that we see there is what's driving that $9.43. So as Ethereum moves up to its next level, then MATIC and Polygon here will also rise up steadily. This video, however, isn't about the price expectation of where we're going next in the journey to $9.43, but is all about the volatility that we're experiencing in the space. As I pull this up and make this a little bit bigger, you can see that recently we've had significant pullbacks, right? This is all courtesy of Bitcoin. So basically, until we kind of decouple from Bitcoin, we are kind of tethered to the action of BTC. That being said, this is a temporary thing, and I do anticipate that BTC is going to start moving, and then Ethereum will start moving as well. And as a result, Polygon's MATIC will also move steadily to the upside overall. Interestingly enough, the patterns that are forming here could see us move up nicely towards some interesting all-time high scenarios in the very near future. So let's see what's going on, right? So we obviously do have a bit of a downward trend on our stochastic RSI, so we're losing momentum overall. This is something that I do anticipate us kind of doing still, getting wedged in here. And obviously this kind of looks like end of October time, by the time that might actually play out, and then we kind of move up to the upside and go nuts for the bull run, right? So we are mindful that there is a downward trend on our stochastic, right? That's the momentum, the sentiment isn't there, right? We know this. And we can also take a look at the volatility, huge pullbacks that we've had a couple times already, and more on the horizon, I do believe, right, before we start to move up steadily. It's in these pullbacks that we find opportunity, right? We take a look at where we were previously, we take a look at basically some interesting areas that if we do drop back down to, would be some fantastic buying opportunities ahead of where we do anticipate going. So getting, MATIC at less than $1 again seems like a steal to many people, right? And what we're potentially looking for is if we do actually drop down to like 70 cent in the near future, then we could see some pretty good price rallies from there, because that's the kind of fear that you want to be buying up. So on this daily chart, we can obviously see there is a downward trend, because we do obviously have this as well on our stochastic RSI. So again, things are starting to find some interesting bottoms. Now down here, there is a support line. This does come in at that $1.01 area. Again, $1 is a nice area just over here that was a good area of support for us. So knowing that we are at $1.09, the expectations will be to find that volatility on those smaller time frames to see whether or not that's going to be a support area for us continuously, or whether or not we are going to pull back to 92 cent, or maybe even a little bit lower, such as coming into this area down here of 77, etc. Right? So then this is where your main opportunity is. You can obviously continue to buy up some fear with the dip every single time, right? If you pull back, buy the dip and then continue. Whatever strategy works for you. I like to find good zones where I can accumulate large portions, and there's going to be one down here, and I will do a member video on that in the very near future on what my buy zone would be for the MATIC token here under those kind of scenarios. Now, before I jump down into the next level, what I'm going to do is pull up the advice.io dashboard just to talk through that underlying value. What is going on with some of those data points in the background that you do not normally see within the charts? Well, we have Polygon MATIC here. It's a C1 rating overall. Okay, so it's not the best. It has been affected by the recent activity. We can see the AMI-HAD ratio is a C2, so it's got liquidity-based problems. Okay, so buying and selling is going to be a problem. We can see the fear and greed index is at a rating of D, so extreme fear. So lots of people trying to sell. There are liquidity-based problems because of that. We drop down a little bit lower. We can see the moving averages have been affected as well. They're a rating of D, so the average price of MATIC is not good. It's not in our favor either, along with how our fear and greed index is performing, along with our liquidity. The Sharpe ratio, the risk-reward ratio, we are well below the 50-day average. Okay, so we were trying to close the gap. We got close to it a few days ago, but we didn't quite get there. And again, this is now looking like a rating of D. So risk to holding MATIC is quite high. The profitability, though, obviously with 42,000% is up there as an A1, right? It's hard to say that it isn't profitable under these kind of circumstances. So the bull run is not over, in my opinion. It would be the shortest bull run in history at only 240 days if we actually were to have had Bitcoin peak already. So the expectation is that the bull run is not over. It is still going to continue. We've got many reasons for this, and do check out my Bitcoin videos if you want to know a bit more about that. But ultimately, we should still be expecting volatility to occur, and as a result of that volatility, there are some opportunities. Right now with MATIC, it's not looking favorable to keep it at the current price. It is looking like it has to have a pullback, and it is likely to pull back significantly. So when we drop down into our hourly, here we can see some of that volatility of what's been going on those more recently, on those few hours, right? So here we can see there is some downward trends appearing here. I can just draw these lines quickly, not most accurate, but you can see them there. And we can also see that the stochastic RSI has reached a point where it's looking for a pullback. It's trying to pull back right now. It could, of course, surge up a little bit further before pulling back down. But again, the expectation would be that it would fall in line with our downward trend here. After falling out of this upward trend, we had this upward trend here. This got broken along with Bitcoin FUD. We pushed up, we found this resistance, we pulled back, we retested this, and we're pulling back again. The support line here currently that stands is basically at $1.06. I do not anticipate that is likely to hold under this kind of scenario. When we throw the volumes in here, we can see the volumes have not been performing very well. They've been quite static. As we've been pushing up specifically, they've been pulling back down, and we've started to grow the volume as we're pushing the price down now. So understanding that there is liquidity-based problems, buying and selling is going to be harder than usual. We can see that the fear and greed index is at extreme fear. That liquidity problem is going to compound the fear that's in the space, and obviously that's going to have an effect to everything else that we see in these metrics as well. So overall, our expectations should be that we'll basically continue this kind of volatility in here. I reckon we're going to lose, though, this support line. I think we're going to probably pull back down into this lower area of around 1 cent, $1.04. Okay, just down here on this journey. So do expect volatility with MATIC on the smaller time frames. And like I said earlier, I do anticipate some opportunities to maybe buy MATIC at below $1 again, very briefly. I think it'll be very brief before we actually start to move on out of this area altogether. But some opportunities will be in here. I will do a whole video on my buy zones for MATIC on this hourly chart for the members. So do check that out if you're a member, and I'll get that done so you can see where I would be buying under those circumstances as well. Overall, guys, I am going to leave the video there. I am quite positive that we're going to be in a pretty good position as we kind of get the bull run running again. But until then, do expect more volatility as we kind of close out September, go into October, and then once Bitcoin starts to have its correction back to the upside, we should be looking for about 67K on the Bitcoin radar in October, and obviously that's going to have an impact on Ethereum, which will have an impact on Polygon, MATIC, and overall we have some pretty good price expectations. Until we get there, though, do expect volatility, and in that volatility there are some opportunities to dollar cost average or to trade these pockets of volatility as we see them. Guys, hopefully you have found this video useful and informative. If you have, hit the like button. I really do appreciate that. If you happen to be new, why not subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With this said, done, and out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.